Welcome and greetings, career-minded superstars. You are listening to the exclusive Career Coach, your podcast for all things career. And I'm Lisa Edwards, the indispensable career coach for superstars just like you. Now let's dig into this week's topic, shall we? Go from dragging yourself to work each day to finding a job you love. The Career Spring program is for high-achieving and ambitious mid-level professionals like you who are looking for a job that uses your zone of genius, recognizes your value, and pays you what you're worth. If you're ready to learn more, schedule a complimentary consult using the link to my calendar in the show notes. Be sure to follow me on Exclusive Career Coaching on Facebook, Lisa Edwards on LinkedIn, and Lisa.Edwards on Instagram. Greetings. How's it going, guys? Hey, I'm back from a couple weeks off. I had some time to rejuvenate, so I hope that you were taken care of by maybe older episodes while I was gone, or I don't know, maybe you were on vacation too. Today, we're talking about the role that job boards should play in your job search, as well as the most used and best job sites, in my opinion, of course. As I have said repeatedly on this podcast, job boards should never be the only strategy you're using, even if you're right out of college. And the second thing that I'm constantly talking about is that the amount of time you should spend on job boards is going to vary depending on the level of the position you're seeking, the type of position, and that kind of thing. My rule of thumb is if you're just out of college, maybe, this is your first job or you're one removed from college, you're still, well in your 20s, you're still a really relatively entry level. Let's spend at least 25% of your job search time engaged in active strategies, so networking-based strategies, and then you can rely on job boards about 75% of the time. The reason I think that it's so important to introduce those active strategies right from jump is that you will increasingly need those active strategies as you move up in your career, in your chosen career path, and those jobs will not be found at higher levels. They won't be found on job boards, or very few will be found. So the sooner that you can learn the skill of networking for your job search, the better. I also want to say what I said to a client just yesterday, which was, so many people think of networking only in the context of looking for a job, and then they put their network on a shelf until they're looking for a job again. And essentially they're starting from scratch each and every time because they haven't maintained that network in between. And I want you to think of networking as something that you do at a low level. You make it a priority. It's not a front burner, meaning it's not an urgent need, an urgent and important need, but it is important. So it stays on your to-do list, if you will, in your calendar on a regular basis. You are continuing to foster those relationships with the understanding that, no, I'm not looking for a job right now. Maybe I'm not looking for anything at all. I'm looking to give to other people. I'm looking to make human connections. It doesn't have to be just about a job, nor should it. So if you're just out of college, 25% of your time active, 75% can be job boards. If you're more mid-career, so you're now in a senior manager level, director level, that kind of thing, 50-50. So half of your time should be spent in networking-based job search activities. And then when you get to the executive level, if you use job boards at all, no more than 25%, I'm strongly recommending that job boards are not going to be useful for you, especially if you're looking for a C-level job. You're not going to be engaging in job boards at all. I've also frequently talked on this podcast about my +1 approach, meaning that you should do one more thing in addition to just applying online. And here's why. When you apply online, it's like you're going into the most crowded auditorium there is, and you are trying to get the attention of the people on stage, which would be people with the job, the employers. It's completely full. It's very hard to get their attention. It's very hard to be heard over the din. The +1 approach involves you finding someone in your network that you can help to open that door for you. It's going to be very situational, but you're reaching out to someone who can open a door, put in a recommendation for you, make an introduction, that kind of thing. I covered the +1 approach in detail in episode 132, and I've included that link in the show notes if you guys want to go back to that one and listen in more detail. And as we talk about using job boards, I want you to keep in mind that there are different kinds. So there are general job boards, niche job boards, and industry specific job boards. The general job boards are going to be those that offer any kind of job, any kind of company. So think Indeed, LinkedIn Jobs, Glassdoor, Career Builder, Monster, ZipRecruiter. Those are all really good ones. What I want to say about the niche and the industry specific ones is that as I was researching to come up with some additional sites for you guys and then looking at those sites, I didn't necessarily agree with what they listed as a niche board versus what they listed as an industry specific board. And the conclusion that I came to was that it doesn't really matter. What we are essentially talking about, even with industry specific, is these are niche boards, meaning they're for a certain population, not everyone. So it could be industry specific in the sense that it's for folks with a law degree or folks who are in human resources. It could be niched by your job function, but it could also be niched by, jobs for people with disabilities, for example. So I'm going to give you some niche job boards and industry specific, but again, I don't want you to, split hairs on which is which. Behance.net, so that's BEHANCE.net, is for creatives. It's created by Adobe. That's a really good site. Idealist is one that I used heavily when I was in higher education, and it's for nonprofits. So anything in the social impact nonprofit arena, Idealist is the place to go. Crunchboard is for startups and tech companies. That's Crunchboard, all one word, capital B. FlexJobs is for remote and flexible work, and that one's proven to be a really good site for people increasingly who want that remote work. USA Jobs is strictly for federal government jobs. DICE is a good one for IT professionals. Journalism Jobs, all one word with a capital J, is for media and journalism. And by the way, all of these are listed in the show notes. E-Finance Careers is for finance and banking. Media Bistro, so all one word, Media Bistro, media and publishing jobs. And then another one is Oil and Gas Job Search. So run all of that together. Oil and Gas Job Search is for the energy industry. The bottom line, again, is unless you're just out of college, your job search should not depend primarily on job boards, but rather a robust combination of active and passive strategies that are specifically chosen by you for you to make the most sense for your career goals. Now I want to give you the DIY versus DFY segment that I've introduced recently. So DIY, for those of you that want to go about your job search on your own, my number one tip is to map out a strategy. So most people, when I talk to them about their job search strategy, they say, well, I'm looking at this, and this job board, and they think that's a job strategy. Nope, that's looking at job boards. A job strategy might look like, well, I'm going to spend this much time per week engaged in networking online through LinkedIn. And then I've joined this group. I'm going to go to their monthly meetings. I'm going to schedule at least one-on-one a week. It's that combination of things. So decide which job search strategies that you're going to take and engage in. You don't want 15 strategies, but you don't just want the one, and which is for most people going to be job boards. So you find that combination. When I'm working with my clients, it's usually 3 to 4 active strategies, so networking based, and 2 or 3 passive strategies that are job board or company website based, those kind of things. And then once you've decided on the tactics you want to take, you want to map out your specific action steps and then calendar them in. And I talked about this in episode 258. I put that link in the show notes as well. And that was about how to organize your job search to optimize your results, because this mapping out, structuring it, putting in your calendar, creating deliverables, daily deliverables for yourself is critical for success. And one of the reasons that it's critical for success is that I want you to measure your success, not by, did I get a job interview today? Did I get a job offer today? But did I do the 5, 6, whatever number things it was in my calendar to do today towards my job search? Did I accomplish those deliverables? And then I want to reward myself for that. That is very motivating. If I'm only measuring it by job offers and job interviews, there are going to be a lot of days that I will, by that metric, have failed. And that is, of course, demotivating. I talked about active versus passive job search strategies in length in episode 30, way back when. So that, again, link is in the show notes. For the DFYs, those of you who want it done for you, if you would like help in planning and executing a targeted, proactive job search strategy that is customized to you and your career goals, your timeline, whether you're working or not, your strengths, what you're good at and not good at, we can do that in one 1-hour coaching session. You're going to leave with a master plan of here are the tactics, and we're going to talk about how to calendar that in. And that's one single session for $450. Now, what other people will want to do is have additional sessions to help with the execution piece. That's really a personal issue. If you are someone who says, I know what I'm doing, I'm really motivated, and I just need a guide, I need a map, and I'm good, then you just need the one session. If you want some help in executing, you might want to consider a 3-session coaching package, which would give you 2 additional sessions, which could be broken up into 4 30-minute sessions, by the way, to execute. So they essentially then become accountability and support calls. So we set goals, we make sure you're staying on track, you get the help that you need. Typically, we meet every other week in that scenario. So if that's something you're interested in, reach out to me. You can email me and I'll get you hooked up with that. My email's in the show notes, but it's also lesa@exclusivecareercoaching.com. So I hope this has been helpful to get you thinking about the role of job boards, some good ones that I like. Be sure and check the show notes out for that full list, and I will see you next week. Take care. You've been listening to The Exclusive Career Coach with Lesa Edwards, CEO of Exclusive Career Coaching. It would be great if you would rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Also, I want to be your career coach, so be sure to ask questions about your career management challenges and job search situation. Until next time.